Hi, everybody. It's Valerie again with the US Canada portion of Meant to Be Well. And I am thrilled to have our 11th incredible speaker here with us, Jodi Klaristenfeld. And Jodi Klaristenfeld is incredible. I love her. And I want you guys to learn more about Jodi and the work she's doing. So, the title of her presentation that she'll give to us today is called Bridging the Gap Successfully Transitioning NICU Families from Hospital to Home. And Jodi is joining us from New York, New York, United States. And Jodi Klaristenfeld is the founder of FLRRiSH. She is a mom to an adorable little girl who was born at 28 weeks due to a rare and life-threatening form of preeclampsia and HELLP syndrome. After her daughter's After her daughter's early birth, Jodi quickly discovered preemie parents aren't always given the support they need. She then created FLRRiSH, a premier concierge NICU parent coaching service focused on education, empowerment, support, and resources to help families navigate this beautiful but yet challenging journey. Her mission is to reframe parents' mindsets and, perhaps most importantly, let parents know they are not alone. So thank you so much for joining us, Jodi. It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Valerie, and thank you to all of you. So I want to start by asking a very simple question. How much schooling, counseling, residency, practice do you think doctors, nurses, or any type of professional go through before getting their degree? Now, if you're like me, you're thinking, well, that's a lot of years, right? And even more than that, after going through that first step, how much do you think that people need to spend time when they're deciding on a specialty, maybe neonatal nursing or cardiology? A couple of more years of practice? In addition to that, when you're in graduate school of any kind, generally, don't you think that around you, you have a community of people, teachers, textbooks, other friends that you make that you could ask questions of? Don't you have tons of resources at the ready and maybe even at your computer fingertips? Now, let's think about parents such as myself. How much training do you think parents go through once their child is born and put into the NICU? Let me tell you, the answer is none. I'm not sure if many of you are aware of this, but the United States has the most premature births of any country in the first world. It amounts to approximately 10.5% births in this country per year, which is approximately 400,000 babies. This statistic is from the March of Dimes. That is a lot of babies. According to some of the latest statistics, such as the Journal of American Medicine, over 40% of parents whose children are in the NICU exhibit some type of mental health ailment in the years following their NICU stay. Doctors, nurses, and every human being that is in the NICU are so special. They're true angels, and they're some of the most compassionate, caring people in the whole world. They support and play a vital role in families' lives every single day, just like they played in mine. The way these professionals watch over children and care and nurture them as if they were their own is unparalleled and something truly special and remarkable. More than that, these very special professionals also help parents such as myself by talking them off of a ledge. They help share and tell them that everything is going to be okay in such a perfect, caring, warming way. And it is because this loving environment that we feel so comfortable that we can actually leave our littles in the hospital at night and go home. That said, the warm, loving environment that is the NICU and how confident we might feel while we are in the NICU, all of those feelings tend to start to creep and go away, and all these other scary feelings start to come into our head as we realize that our time in the NICU is coming to an end and we are about to transition home. As a preemie mom to a former 28-weeker, I have lived through all the anxiety, the sleepless nights, the overwhelming gratitude, and the incredible care that such special people have provided. Yet, as we all know, a NICU journey is unique, complex, challenging, and also very beautiful. It is a whirlwind and a roller coaster of emotions, to say the least. As our babies grow stronger, part and parcel because of the love, caring, and warmth environment and expert approaches that such special people give our babies. As discharge day approaches, we can't help but feel relief and joy, yet trepidation and anxiety all at the same time. Today, I am here to share with you my perspective on something that is near and dear to my heart about bridging the gap from the NICU to home. At the end of my discussion, you will have some strategies that you can employ when preparing families on their celebratory yet anxiety-provoking transition from hospital to home. Once we leave the safety of the cocoon that is the NICU, how do we know what our child really needs to not just survive, but also to thrive? What tools do parents need in their tool belt to make sure that their children grow and develop and succeed for today, tomorrow, and the future? The transition home from the NICU is a huge milestone and one to be celebrated. Yet, like I just said, it's also very challenging and very terrifying. When in the NICU, parents like myself feel like having your child survive is a joint effort between the doctors and nurses and the staff, as well as the parents themselves. Yet, upon leaving the NICU and those doors closing, the responsibility rests solely on the parents themselves. How are they going to keep their child alive? And how are they going to help their child survive? Do you notice that different distinction, the difference between keeping a person alive and helping them survive? Think of it this way. When we're in the NICU, we have 24/7 help of all these special people, multiple people at the ready. On top of that, there are machines, bells, whistles, so many things that can tell us if something is wrong or amiss with our child. Yet, once those NICU doors close, we are cut off from all access to those people, those machines, and that warm, secured blanket that you guys have enveloped with us during our NICU stay. How would you feel if you were the parent of a child that was in the NICU and all you've ever known was having a whole host of people around your child and machinery, and then you go home and have absolutely nothing? What do you wish you could have when you go home and transition home from the NICU? That's something that the doctors and the nurses could give you to make you feel almost as if they were sitting on your shoulder while you were at home with your baby. Parents just don't have any of these mechanisms to think because they're so overwhelmed in these moments and they're filled with anxiety and self-doubt. Along this train of thought, the first real tangible tool that parents must have is comprehensive education and training. What kind of topics does this include? Should it be the same for all parents? Or should it be different? What if your child goes home on an NG tube or oxygen? Should you require separate and different training than someone that doesn't go home with anything like that? Absolutely. It is imperative that parents feel confident and prepared in their ability to adequately provide care and manage anything that might come up once they are home. The following is a short list of, of tools that parents need. Education on feeding and lactation. Does the child need supplemented milk, or is just plain breast milk or just formula good enough? Do you think that they should have just pumped milk, or should they breastfeed? What if someone has problems producing enough milk and they're having trouble latching on? This is why doctors and nurses need to prepare parents with all the answers to these questions, because there's just so many and so overwhelming. And this will help them feel more confident in their ability when they come home. Another thing parents need is real hands-on training. They need directions and guidance on how to administer medication, or what if your child does come home with an NG tube or an oxygen tank? How does one change some of the parts? And also, how does a parent know what the difference between a real emergency is and what something is not an emergency? Their whole lives, their child has been hooked up to machines and have used that to rely upon to see if their child is okay. Parents really need real life, parents really need real life help more than once or twice in trying to assess a situation with their child. Now, obviously, we can't simulate certain things, but other things that we can help with, such as parent CPR, or what to do if your child's lip is turning blue. Do you just slap them on the back, or should you call the 911 and go to the emergency room? All of these things for a parent of the NICU are nothing short of paralyzing, and the fear of having them happen at home is extremely real. Yes, like a typical family, my husband and I stayed in the hospital one night, but nothing about that one night was typical. And then also nothing about those days or anything since then has been typical. I just want every parent to know that these feelings are so valid and real, and that they are not alone. The last thing that I'm going to talk about with respect to this topic is having parents take part, in basic daily care. A lot of parents have to choose between NICU time or after their baby is home when to take maternity and paternity leave. That shouldn't be the case, and that's a discussion for another day. But doctors and nurses in the NICU should insist that parents come and practice daily care routines on their babies before they come home, whether that's changing a diaper, giving them a bath, or even understanding how to swaddle. The NICU is interesting for so many reasons, but one thing that people might not know is that when you're in the NICU, a lot of times babies sleep on their bellies because it helps with the gas, it helps with their muscle tone, and it helps also stimulate being inside the womb. That said, when you go home due to the risk of sudden infant death syndrome and other things, obviously your baby cannot sleep on their back. So cannot sleep on their stomach. So providing them with tools and tips on how to swaddle and how to have their home set up essentially is so very important. The next topic that is really important is discharge planning. Every baby is unique. Each parent's journey is different from the next. So as such, no one size fits all discharge plan is going to work when parents leave the NICU. Thus, we need personalized discharge plans to address each family's unique needs. This will help lead to a successful transition home. Customized plans help parents feel undoubtedly more competent, more confident, and more assured when taking care of their baby. Additionally, allowing time to go over these plans in advance of discharge and reviewing each and every aspect of this plan will reduce feelings of anxiety, stress, and overall inadequacy that most NICU parents feel. A well thought out home plan not only makes parents feel more secure, but it provides a much needed roadmap for challenging times that are almost certain to lay ahead. Put simply, everyone needs their own proverbial tool belt. According to the National Library of Medicine, when neonatal doctors and nurses take into account all aspects of the baby's health and care, and that parents are involved, there is a reduced likelihood of readmissions to the NICU, going to the emergency room, and setbacks. This means that while in the NICU, the doctors and the nurses are the teachers, and they let the parents be the actual caregivers to their child. This gives parents a sense of support and empowerment in actually caring for their baby, because once they leave the NICU, they are going to be the ones that are with their child doing everything for them every single day for the rest of their lives. This lets them feel empowered and also recognizes that the transition to home is not a singular event. It is an ongoing process filled with appointments, follow-up care, and other steps that NICU parents need to take that full-term parents do not. So, what should such a plan include? The following is a short list. Some of these are very obvious, right? Copies of all medical records, summaries during a child's NICU stay, what medication they took, the dosages, administration times, how often, what are the possible side effects? Even more so, if your child is on medication, where is somewhere local to where they live that they can actually get that medication filled in a timely manner? One side note, when my daughter was in the NICU, she took baby Prevacid because she had gas. Now, a lot of babies in the NICU have very bad gas because their whole digestive system isn't fully developed just yet. That said, I had no idea that baby Prevacid really amounted to regular Prevacid that adults take, but just compounded down to a smaller amount based upon her weight. Well, fortunately for us, the pharmacy that the hospital used was near where we live. And more than that, the pharmacists within that pharmacy were a wealth of knowledge and still are a wealth of knowledge and a source of comfort to me. I still go there, even though I can buy regular children's Tylenol anywhere. But for me, knowing that those neighborhood pharmacists are there and they care so deeply about little kids makes all the difference in the world. Another thing that should be in discharge plans are names, numbers, and contact information of all specialists your child would have seen while in the NICU. Now, chances are when your child is discharged, they will have some follow-up other than just a regular pediatrician. Now, here's a random question. How many people listening today have cars? A lot of you, right? And how many of you have tried to actually make a service appointment the day that you needed service for your car? I'd say it's very difficult, right? Like if you only knew 3 weeks ago that your brake light was going to go on today, you would have called the car dealer 3 weeks ago to make an appointment. Not that I am comparing human beings to machinery, but what I am comparing is the fact that getting an appointment for a specialist doctor is very difficult, similarly to getting an appointment to fix your car or the car doctor, if you will. So I think that it would really make a lot of sense and take a lot of stress off parents' plate if the doctors and nurses scheduled all appointments, at least the first ones, with all those specialists that that your child has seen while in the hospital. It just takes an extra added layer of weight and stress off of parents. I still know today parents that are waiting 18 months to 2 years to see a developmental pediatrician. What are parents supposed to do in the meantime? There's something wrong with our medical system when it takes so long to get a doctor's appointment. As such, when possible, the neonatal team should schedule all those first follow-up appointments in advance and let the parents know when they are inside their discharge plan. The third thing that should be in a discharge plan is a home safety checklist. We only know what we know, and conversely, we don't know what we don't know. Sure, we know about carbon monoxide monitors, smoke detectors, how to keep, chemicals and hazardous cleaning products away from our children. But what about some other things? What about things that we don't know? I'd say that sometimes it's the things that you don't know that could be the most detrimental and the most harmful to you and your child. Bringing your child home and putting them in a safe environment is one of the things that parents can't wait to do. When hospital workers, nurses, and doctors can give parents a list of things that they should have in their nursery and in their home and things that they shouldn't, it goes a long way in helping alleviate some anxiety and stress. The last thing I'm going to talk about in discharge planning is about guidelines and resources as it relates to your child's growth and development. I cannot stress enough about the importance of providing parents with real, tangible ways to help support their child's growth and development trajectory. Studies show that the first 5 years are absolutely crucial to a child's development. And preemie or NICU babies have already had a rough go since they were born before they were supposed to be and have had to stay in the hospital for a longer period of time than what is traditional. How can doctors and nurses help best prepare parents to set their child up for success today, tomorrow, and the future? Providing parents with names, numbers, contacts, information as it relates to early intervention or any other government type of program that their child might pre-qualify would help a lot. I remember those first few days after my daughter was home, making tons and tons of phone calls trying to get my daughter evaluated, even though she pre-qualified. And when I was on the phone, I was told that just because she pre-qualified doesn't mean she was going to get the services anyway. Well, that didn't seem right to me. Why didn't anyone tell me this? Why didn't someone tell me that I was going to have to advocate and fight tooth and nail for everything to help my daughter grow and develop? I also implore upon parents to say, doctors and nurses to tell parents that, again, your mandate for early intervention may not be met. But what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to wait and see what happens? I'm not that person. I would venture to say most parents aren't the type that want to wait and see what's going to happen. Parents should feel empowered to get private help for their child while they're in the NICU. This shouldn't be a secret. This should be something, again, doctors and nurses should give to parents when they are in the NICU, because the sooner you can get your child help, the better off they will be, and the sooner that they can start to catch up. And I just want to say one thing on growth and development. Everyone is on their own timeline. It is so important to focus over the progress, not the perfection of meeting all of those goals. The last point that I want to make is that the emotional journey does not end once parents leave the NICU. In fact, I would say that when parents leave the NICU, that's when it gets perhaps even heightened, and it makes everything seem more real. Parents go down this rabbit hole and spiral and feeling guilt and the weight of the world on their shoulder, that everything that we have done has caused this. Well, again, that emotional feelings last up until 8 years after a child's NICU stay. Over 40% of parents exhibit mental health issues, anxiety, postpartum, some type of PTSD. These things are not the faults of the parents, it's the system. And it is so important that the doctors and nurses within the NICU walls give parents support and tell them that getting help is a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness. Now, how might they provide this help? Provide resources to community centers or services, or perhaps your local hospital has an aftercare or a family-centered approach, which should actually be the norm throughout the whole world, but isn't. Parents need hospitals to give them a targeted and vetted list of mental health professionals, people who are in close proximity to where they live. They have dealt with parents who are in the NICU, and they can truly empathize, not sympathize with them. We don't need someone to take pity on us. We need someone to hold our hands, validate our feelings, and tell us, while it is so hard, it is going to be okay. We just want someone to listen to us. And then usually it's kind of like a spiral, right? That mental health professional knows somebody else in the community that you can go to, and helps you also join maybe a support group of other parents. NICU parents are best friends simply because they have had to ask permission to hold their child after they were born. They have had to go home at night without their child when their child is in the NICU. Equipping parents with such assets and roadmaps and resources will not only help set the parents up for success, but will also help set the child up for success, because the parents will be less stressed and less inclined to feel sad and depressed.
Absolutely. Well, Jodi, this is so, so incredible. I wish we could talk all day about this.
I was just gonna
Yeah.
close, but okay, I
Oh,
gotta go.
yeah. Just, yeah, if we can, I would love to hear more about like
I'm
where
sorry.
we can find you and all. And it's incredible. I love what you're doing, Jodi.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I just want to say again, thank you to all the doctors and the nurses out there who help families like me. But, we really do need help and support in transitioning parents home and being successful and having a wonderful experience as a parent. So thank you.
Mm. Thank you so much, Jodi. I absolutely love everything you're doing. And if we want to check out more, I would love, love, love everyone who is listening to check out everything that Jodi has on Flourish. I have it in the show notes. Um, and it's just an incredible, incredible thing you're doing for NICU parents and a huge advocate. And I truly appreciate it. From a NICU parent to another, there is this bond, this beautiful bond. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Jodi.
Thank you, Valerie. Love
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you. You too. Have a good evening. And
Yeah.
I hope everyone sticks around. We will have Gretchen coming up right now. And then be sure to reach out to Jodi. Thank you so much, Jodi.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.